Right, so now we are in the effects portion of this series on this one particular beat. At first we mixed it, then we created a structure, and now we're going to add our effects to our sounds. Now the links for those videos will be in the description or attached to the video. Now that we've mixed our sounds already, we've named them, we organized them, and we've mapped them out. We already know how we want the beat to sound. So now let's create more of a particular idea as to the overall sound, and let's create like mesquite flows within the patterns. So I'm gonna play it. Open up the mixer. I got it on the loop. So it's gonna keep running through. So as you can hear, it sounds clean. We're not passing 0 dB, but I do hear something that I want to adjust. Now, instead of using the clap, I use the perk. But on this perk, we have it linked to a channel 14. And what we want to do is turn it on, and we have a delay already selected here. So I'm going to play it with the delay, and let's make some adjustments. I like how that sounds so far. It's just a delay effect, so it's looping and you hear the sound over and over again. But I think I wanted to pan within between the headphones or speakers. I want to hear left, right. So I'm gonna add, actually before we even add that, I'm gonna rename this to perk effect bus. Alright, and we're gonna give it some color, and then we're going to hit enter. Now I'm going to move it over to where the perk is at, and I'm going to create a separator between the perk and the tune. That way we know that this is this area of the effects for this particular sound. So like I said, when I add a pan on there, now this is called pancake. This effect can be found within the DimAce Discord, so make sure you check that out in the link in the description. It's a free plugin. All you have to do is just go to the Discord, go to our resources, and it'll be there. What it does is it changes the sound to go from one ear to the other, and I'll show you. You can slow it down. That sounds. We'll go ahead and take the lows out off on that. We're going to turn it down some more. Like that. Right. Make sure we save. So that's the perk. We added effects on the perk, so we're going to move on to the next sound. See if we want to add effects. We don't necessarily have to add effects to every sound track, so we're gonna go run through the ones that I feel as if they can use a little bit more character. So with this tune, it does sound like it can use some reverb. So we're gonna go add a little bit of reverb, and we're not gonna create a separate channel for it. We're gonna leave it under the same channel. When you add in effects, as you can see with the perk, I created its own insert track, and we routed it to that track. What that does is create two versions of the same sound, which one sound is routing the same sound to another channel, and then we affect that channel, which I wanted to take out something. We're going to take out the dry on the delay here. So that way only the wet is there and we only hear the actual effect that the effect is creating versus the same sound as the first sound that's being routed to this channel. If that doesn't make sense, please feel free to drop a comment in the comment section and I can express that to you in more detail. Now with the tune, we're going to add just the effect on the one singular channel, and when doing so we're affecting the whole channel, so we cannot take the dry out. If we take the dry out, it's only going to have the effect that's added and you're only going to hear the effect of the effect. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave the dry and we're going to try to blend in the wet. That way we're not messing up anything and we still have our original sound. Take out that low. Now the perks of adding an additional channel is the luxury of being able to equalize it individually and then blending it in with the original sound. So just keep that in mind when you add sound or effects to one particular channel. You can't equalize it, or you can't equalize the effect that's being added. You can only equalize it entirely. So I think that sounds good. We're gonna move on to the next thing. So I think for this second tune we can add maybe like a stereo enhancer or shaper to bring it more to the forefront. So what we're going to do is add a shaper and copy these values just to bring it up the front and then play it. Track, and if you hear, it gave more room to the cymbal. So when the cymbal played in the background and the tune played up front. That way they aren't bothering each other, and that was probably the relationship problem then. So I don't think the kick needs anything. I don't think this tune 3 needs anything. Turn down a little bit. I didn't think I was going to raise the volume, but it did. So you turn that down. And that sounds great like that. The shaker sounds. The shaker, we'll put that in the background. So we'll go ahead and add a stereo shaper. And then we'll do the same thing. Copy the values. Once we place shaker, because that's something that would be typically done, is because we did add a reverb on the perk, and the perk doesn't have a tail with the reverb. I don't want the tail to clash with trying to add another reverb to this shaker, because sometimes, although we do change this position of the sound of each individual sound, the reverb is still going to be a reverb. So you can't, even though, like, let's say we place the reverb on our left ear, and we want to place a reverb on our right ear. That's really the only way we're going to be able to separate the reverbs, because initially you're adding a room to the sound. So if you leave it in mono, it's going to just sound too muddy and too clashy. And then the last sound is the percussion. I think that sounds good. I don't want to mess it up too much. I actually think we can turn up the highs on it. Give it a little bit more punch. A little bit more of that. Turn it down just a little bit more. Actually, a little bit more. There you go. So that's a simple techniques as far as mixing goes, and the ideas as to how to mix each individual sound and what to listen for. I think that's the most important, is what to listen for when you're mixing each individual sound. As I always say, each beat and each song will be different, so how you approach it and how you mix it, it all is by ear and what you're trying to accomplish as far as the vibe and the energy of the song. So with that said, I hope this video was very helpful, and for the next segment of this series, I'm going to go into how to master the track and how to mix it and master it. That way it'll sound the same on all devices. So for the links to the other videos, it'll be in the description and a link attached to the video. So, yeah.